This is actually my third attempt to do this. I keep breaking out into coughing fits because I have a cold right now. So we're not doing so much better than we were when I did the first video on this rifle. We've had lots of fights with equipment and stuff like that. And that brings me to my first subject on the rifle. If you guys want to skip through all this and listening to my hoarse voice, you can skip to the end, watch the results that I got with this rifle. Once again, sorry it's not on steel. We're in a new area, learning a new area, and it is really difficult to get around even in the desert at some points because it gets really muddy. Got video on steel, I've got video on, and we actually pushed this out further last year, but we had some equipment issues with it. And that brings me to my first topic on this rifle. Right away, when you get this rifle, take these bolts out, take these bolts out, and take these bolts out, and take your scope base off. Take it all apart and Loctite it. Take these apart, well, this one right here, Loctite it, make sure this is tight. Check your hinge to make sure that it's clear, or that it's tight. Before you even take this thing out of the store, make them clean the barrel and have a look down the barrel. Check for notches and grooves. Every single company out there, every manufacturer has defective barrels from time to time. I've seen too many of them from various brands and stuff like that not to check every single rifle that I buy. There's some issues with this rifle. Let's be honest. It's a cheap rifle as it goes for a precision rifle. I paid $1,150 for it. Would I do it again? Yeah, I probably would. I probably would buy it again just because the results from it are super accurate. The issues that I've had with it, I've been able to take care of for like dirt cheap, if not next to nothing. The biggest issue I had with the rifle was that I had a loose hinge here. It started to open up and it was maybe a 1/64 of an inch, but that was enough to make that thing wobble back and forth quite a bit because the further you move away from the hinge, the more movement there is. That in itself messed with the travel of the bolt. The bolt itself is far from smooth. It hangs up, and all that banging around when you're running the bolt just pisses me off. However, I'd still buy the rifle. Would I take it out and say, like, this is a sniper rifle? You're not going to get any sniper out there that's going to ever take something like this into the brush and then, you know, expect that they're going to live through that day because that's a lot of noise and that bothers me. The other thing that it does is it takes you off target, so that if you fire a shot and you want to actually do a follow-up shot and you're banging away on that, your scope comes off target. So you're not going to get that good follow-up. Is it still an excellent rifle if used with proper expectations? Yes, it is. And I think it's a fair value for what you're spending because you're getting an excellent shooting rifle. It's a bug hole shooter if you use proper ammo. I have shot Norma 130 grain diamonds, I've shot Hornadys 140 ELDXs, I've shot RDFs from Nosler, I've shot 134 and 140 grain burgers in various different types for my reloads, and this thing has shot everything exceptionally well. The results, I mean, you can see them on steel, you can see them on this rock face way out there, and it's an excellent shooter. Having a fair expectation of a rifle that's $1,150 is part of whether you're going to be satisfied. In the next video I'm going to talk about, you know, the differences between this rifle, a Tikka with a fixed stock, and a fully custom built rifle. It's MDT ESS chassis, Krieger barrel, Terminator brake. It's TriggerTech trigger. It's a standard trigger. I don't need the super light one. I don't like the super light ones. I'm not a bench rest shooter, and that comes down to the type of shooting that I like to do. And I'll talk to you about whether I would prefer this rifle over those or those rifles over this when it comes to competitions. And, you know, that we'll talk also about what scope and stuff like that to select. But before I do, let's actually go through this rifle and I'll tell you how I've set it up. I have a Terminator TT brake right here, which, whether you like it or not, is the only 6.5 brake out there in this size that is more efficient than the factory brake that comes on here. If you don't want to spend the money, don't spend the money. Don't go buying another brand of brake that just looks cool or something like that, and it's like this big around, because that's going to screw with your harmonics. You're going to have issues with it. This is my choice right here because it is the most efficient. It does give me the highest chance of being back on target after that first shot or second shot. And it is a self-timing brake. It's got a nut on the back. You thread the nut on, drop a Loctite on the threads before you do. Make sure you brake clean it so that you get all the oil off of there first. And you thread the brake on, gently snug it together between the brake and the lock nut, and away you go. You're pretty much done. Other setup stuff that I've done on this, since I have 100 MOA of adjustment in here, and not a lot of scopes do, until you get into really high-end ones. I've got 20 MOA on the unimount, and I've got 20 MOA on the base. 60 MOA is required for 120. I had to think about that for a second. 100, you're going to need 40. 80, you're going to need 20. If you don't select the right base for your rifle, you're going to end up not utilizing your elevation properly. You're going to be zeroed halfway through your elevation travel, and you're really going to be limited to like 700 yards or 800 yards or something like that, which is child's play with this rifle. It's really about selecting the proper equipment. The only piece of vortex equipment I have on here is this scope bubble, which is a total pain in the ass to set up. It is super thin, and once you have it set and you start torquing it down, it'll actually like bend the whole unit, so you have to sort of guesstimate where you want it to go, and then tighten it down until you know that you're level, that your scope is level to your rifle. I hear some people complain about how accurate these rifles are. They're full of crap. If you don't have a good scope on it, it's not going to shoot well. If you don't have it leveled properly, it's not going to shoot well. If you don't know what you're doing, it's not going to shoot well. If you're having a crap day or you just had 3 energy drinks, you're not going to shoot well. I've had several of these rifles, yeah, they're great shooters. Are they competition guns? Not in my opinion. They're too rough in action. Are you ever going to see the military use them? No. But if you want to go out, you want to have a really, really good day and shoot some really, really long distances, this is a really good choice, and I highly recommend it. Check out the footage. I'll get out. I'm going to do a little competition between 3 rifles that I've got going right now. They're all 6.5 Creedmoors. It'll be a super fair comparison. And let me tell you, we've stretched this rifle out really, really far right before having something fail on it. And it's not even worth mentioning because I really torture tested this rifle, and it's still a shooter. And I just threw it down. So check out my next video when I do the comparison on this. Like I said, this video is going to be more broad spectrum. Expect more peripheral gear as well too, guys. And if you see anything or have any questions, leave it in the comments below. And my last thing would be, don't buy V-brand. Go and look at 6 Hour, look at Leupold, look at even Minox, even though I think they're overpriced for what they are. Night Force, you really can't go wrong. Set up your rifle properly, put the time into that, invest in an inch-pounds torque wrench, Loctite that scope base down, with some green Loctite. Make sure there's no movement there. Even 1/1000th of an inch will throw you off and screw with your accuracy. Put the time in. If you're not competent in doing that, get a gunsmith to do it. But you'll thank me for it. You'll get out there and you'll have an awesome time, and you won't be effing around trying to figure out what's wrong with your equipment. So guys, we'll see you in the next video. That's my rant for today. Gotta love that sound, so smooth.